Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Irene Bolaños, and now I and my colleagues are going to talk about comic characters and what impact have they on the society. Well, I'm going to talk about Moonkind. Moonkind is a Marvel character created by Don Moench and Don Perlin. His first appearance was in the comic book Werewolf by Night, number 32. What is Moonkind? Moonkind behind the mask is Mark Spector. Mark Spector was a former mercenary and a former marine who, in his last job, when he fulfills what has promised, the person who hired him killed one of his assistants. And suddenly, this person challenges Mark to a fight in what Mark Spector almost died, but is left to his fate in the cold of the desert in Egypt. In that desert, some Egyptians found him and take him to his temple. In that temple, Mark Spector dies, but he has a vision. In that vision, the god of the moon, Khonshu, appears him in his form, and he gives them a second chance to life. But he has to get the mantle of the god of the moon, Khonshu, in Earth. Well, to later face against the person who took his life, and this time defeat him. After that, Spector come back to the United States and he accumulated as a mercenary and so get a small fortune. Not much, not so. No, it's a big fortune also. But with that fortune, he buys a house in the street for take so close the villains, the notices, the dangerous. And with that fortune, he buys an armament, weapons, and a suit, a white suit, like Batman, but in white. Moonkind is the incarnation of the good of the moon of revenge. Well, Moonkind has no superpowers, but he has a very critical athlete and fighter. He knows the box, the kickbox, the martial arts, and the street fight. Yeah, he is a complete athlete. Moonkind has so weapons like a staff or blades in form on a moon, a medium moon, like this. This is the suit, the mantle, and his weapons. This is an example of this, and this is the character. Okay? Well, Moonkind has been part of many groups, including the Avengers. It has been part of the Secret Avengers, the Defenders, Marvel Kinds, Rental Heroes, and the West Coast Avengers. Moonkind has worked with Spider-Man, Daredevil, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Punisher, Captain America, Hawkeye, Thor, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, War Machine, among others. Moonkind has mental problems because he has more than only one personality inside his head. So, in addition to fighting to his enemies, he fights internally with himself. Moonkind is an unstable person, and usually Moonkind is compared to Batman. But nevertheless, both are totally different. Neither his story is similar, or nor abilities or problems. Well, the impact of Moonkind on the society. Well, Moonkind is essentially a hero of revenge, which usually attracts the attention of people because sometimes we like to see a hero little out of the normal, making it interesting. His fans are usually attracted by this way of always doing the right despite the methods that is have to employ in addition to the one who is a hero who will always get up when we fulfill his mission. Make it something incredible to read. Because not all heroes can do what he does or achieve what he achieves. Fight with himself every time and at the same time fight with his enemies. Mankind can come back to life if he died because the god of the moon, Khonshu, come back to life mankind again and again if he failed. And that is all for my part. That is all for mankind and for me.
In blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let us who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's light. Origin. As such, all the origins of the universe of lanterns are thanks to the guardians of the universe, who are extraterrestrials who seek to do justice and bring peace to the entire universe. These aliens have an appearance that makes them look too old, but they have the no power to destroy a planet. These aliens, looking for a way to maintain justice, divide the universe into 3,600 quadrants and create the Manhunters, which are robots that were created to protect the universe, but due to a fault, they brutally murdered an entire quadrant, which almost extinguished this quadrant. After this, and thanks to the help of a young star, they create the Green Central Lantern, which is fueled by will and courage. This energy is controlled by the lantern rings, which make it possible to materialize almost any idea that the user wants. It can be said that the more courageous and voluntary the ring user is, the stronger will be its brightness and strength. The Green Lanterns are composed by the bravest or most voluntary person in their entire quadrant. This is how our protagonist, Hal Jordan, begins. Hal is an Air Force soldier who does not follow rules and does two risky stunts, which leads him to only serve to test the new aircraft prototypes. But one day, an alien ship impacts Hal in one of his sets, making him fall at the time. And at the time of expecting, the ship's crew tell him that Hal was chosen by the ring for being the bravest person in the whole air. This is how he starts as a Green Lantern. Lantern colors. There are 9 lantern bodies with similar powers, but based on the colors of light spectrum, and with entities that represent them, and either is well differentiated from each other when applying the power of the ring. One of the most powerful weapons in the space in the DC universe. As we saw, Green Lanterns get their power from will and courage. Sinestro Corps, also known as Yellow Lanterns. They are led by Sinestro, which was a Green Lantern, but for his character and tyranny, it was expelled from Green Lanterns. Sinestro, in revenge, accepts the help of an evil entity called Parallax. The power of the ring is produced by the fear of the victims. Red Lantern Corps. The origin of these type of lanterns goes back when the Manhunters saw through the entire quadrant, leaving only one survivor, Atrocitus, who being the only one in his quadrant receives a ring, but his feeling of anger towards the Guardians make his ring turn a red color, which represents anger and hate. The power of his ring is produced by the hair of his user. Orange Lantern Corps. This body of lanterns can be said to be composed by only one person. The only member of this corporation is an alien called Larfleeze, whose race is dedicated to stealing and cheating different galaxies. So Larfleeze, for his great feeling and ideas of greed, is dedicated to steal rings and weapons to clone himself, to have an army of only one person. The power of his ring is produced by the greed and selfishness of the user. Blue Lantern Corps. This body of lanterns was created by two guardians who didn't agree with the other guardians, so they create the Blue Lanterns, which although they are a few members, have incredible power because the members are those whose ideas are based on protecting and sharing with other people. The power of the ring is based on the hope that the user gives to the other person. Black Lantern Corps. This body of lanterns, they were commanded by Necron, which is the representation of death in the DC universe. This body of lanterns do not have a ring, so as such, but at the time that a lantern dies, all they make to the corporations make the powers they had in life pass through their dead life. Their power is unlimited because no living being can escape from death. Finally, besides, is one of my favorite superheroes, Green Lantern, in one way or another, makes me my person respectful and fair because I dislike injustice. I identify with this superhero because I like to be fair and take care from the others. And I think that more people should follow the example of this type of characters to be a better society.
I'm gonna talk about Flash. I think that the most part of the people here have heard talk about the DC superhero. The majority maybe know him because his series in Netflix, but I believe that only a few know his origin in the comics. Like I say, this character became popular for his series that it premiered in October of 2014. Even I didn't know well his story in the comics. Let's analyze it together. This character was created by Gardner Fox and Harry Lampert. The original Flash premiered in the comics in 1940 in Flash Comics #1. This story is about Jay Garrick, who is a university student that in a break for smoke spilled his science experiment in heavy water gas. After that, breathed the substance, faints for a week, and it's close to death, but finally Garrick don't die. It gets better and his powers appears. He became in the fastest man alive. Their powers are superhuman speed and reflexes. In his first fight, have to defeat 2 4 enemies, and he did. Flash is clearly inspired from Mercurio, the god speed in the Greek mythology. Even some people call Garrick the reincarnation of that god. Flash, who defends Kingston, his fictional home, and joining fast to his partner of the group of superheroes of the Justice Society of America. Unfortunately, for Flash, the superhero comics started to lose popularity at the end of 1950. The last appearance of Flash in the comics was in All-Star Comics in 1951. But 5 years later, Flash come back. DC have tried to come back to superheroes, but this new Flash was the first that really succeeded. This new Flash it premiered in Showcase #4 in 1956. This new Flash was created by Robert Kanigher, John Broome, and Carmine Infantino. The project of the new Flash was taken by an editor called Julius Schwartz. The time when this new Flash it premiered it's called the Silver Age of Comics, and this new Flash also have a new name, Barry Allen. He's a scientist police who gets his powers for a thunder that hit him mixed with a lot of chemicals, substances. The Flash of Jay Garrick appears in the story of the origin of Allen. Garrick has the role of inspired to Barry in his new adventures. This new Flash became enough popular for have his own comic. This happened in 1959, and this comic was so important that due that the superheroes come back popular again, and the comics start to be popular again too. All character appears again renewed, and born a new variation of the Society of Justice. This new group of heroes was called the Justice League. That is very popular nowadays, even had so much popularity in the past century. Even Jay Garrick come back to be a popular superhero because had continuity in the story called The Two-World Flash. The friends of Garrick of the Golden Age of Comics appear soon in the story Crisis on Infinite Earths. Well, now I'm going to talk about the series and how this relates with the comic. One similarity that I noticed is that the first Flash, Jay Garrick, was compared with Mercurio. Mercurio is the Godspeed, and in the fifth season of Flash, the enemy that Barry tried to defeat is the Godspeed. And just like in the comic, when Barry Allen is Flash, Jay Garrick trying to inspire to Barry Allen to keep fighting. I think that Flash have an important impact in the Western culture. The most part of the people used to remember Flash when you ask her what superheroes they know. And like I said before, the series Netflix was very successful. Even the producers are already planning and preparing everything for the sixth season. I think that the cultural impact will grow up exponentially the next year with the success that the series is having. Nowadays, just like in the comics, Flash is the most important hero in DC. Because of him, other superheroes of DC start to grow up in popularity in their series, and I repeat, is the most successful superhero of DC, and I think that it's a project that I doubt DC want to leave. Also, the people like this Flash, and even they have her a kind of appreciation. Flash is my favorite superhero because he always want to fight for the truth, and they have his strength in their family because what he wants all the series is to want to protect her city and her family. Thank you, and that's all for my explanation.
Hi, I'm Joaquin. I want to talk about the Joker. The DC Comics Joker is the most iconic character in popular culture alongside with Batman. How was this remembered supervillain conceived? Undoubtedly, the Joker is the most recognized character in the comics of all time, with a disturbing smile, white skin, and sometimes green hair. The criminal clown is a violent sociopath who murders people for his own amusement. Origins. The origins, though many have been origins relate about the Joker, a definitive story of the Joker has never been established in the comics, and his true name has never been confirmed. There are two iconic comics of the Joker that are popular in this world, like the Detective Comics and the Killing Joke. A definite story of the Joker has never... In February 1951, there are here the Detective Comics who present the Red Hood. Revealed that he had been a criminal known and has a helmet with a red helmet and elegant suit, and no one knows who is this man. Okay, in the story, the Red Hood was robbing the Monarch playing card factory and encountered Batman. For the first time in the history of comics, the Joker encountered Batman, the Dark Knight. Okay, he tried to escape by fleeing to the Ace chemical plant where he fell into a bath of chemicals. He survived, but the chemicals had radically changed his body, resulting in a white skin, emerald green hair, and a bizarre ruby red green. Like we have here is an example of the white skin, of the crazy bizarre smile, the green hair, and the red green eyes. History is extensive, not only because it had countless of comics, television series, and video games, but there are still mysteries to solve for such a strange character. How was the Joker created? The first appearance of this villain was in Batman #1. Although artists like Bill Finger, Bob Kane, and Jerry Robinson differ on the conception of these characters, They have a lot of conceptive of this character, like we have a crazy smile and a red helmet. They differ in their style. On the one hand, we have Jerry Robinson was a draft made on the card that the Joker would use, but it was a performance of Conrad Bailey who finally inspired the supervillain. He acted as a wing plane in the 1938 film The Man Who Laughs, the adaptation of the Victor Hugo drama. He made Griden in the 1928 film The Man Who Laughs. The adaptation of the Victor Hugo drama he had written in 18. The Man Who Laughs is a performance that we talk is a crazy man who can't stop laughing. He's not at all a criminal like we have in Joker, but also has a lot of mysterious. Okay, in the real world, are persons who suffer in the society, and we don't know what kind of the thoughts they have. They sick people. They don't know more than.
Please.
Joker, it's my favorite villain because he has a lot of potential to be a symbol of the DC Comics, to be more than archivillain of Batman. He's a real character of the cruel world that we have. Another difference that Batman and Joker have, that the reality of them are different. Lack of empathy. Sociopaths are unable to relate to the perspective of problems of other people. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of potential in Joker, and I think this is the best villain. That's all for this presentation.